I'm your host, and I'm joined here with Veretta. We'll be with you guys for the next hour to take some live calls and to do some free live readings for you all tonight for until about 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time or Arizona time. Veretta, are you there on the line with me? It sounds like that you're in Utah right now, so you're visiting.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, question.
Yeah.
Aside from just doing it, how do we get ourselves to be outdoors a little bit more? Because like Ruth Drummond, one of the founding members of this work that we're presenting here for the Uranian Astrology, per the Founder's Method, she was always of the belief what you cannot read or find in the chart, you can find out in Mother Nature. So she was really a huge
Mm-hmm.
proponent of like going meditation and just spending time outdoors. That there is so much there in that
Mm-hmm.
natural beauty. So like, but I am not an outdoor person because obviously I grew up in the city and life is chaotic and hectic. So, how do we get ourselves to be more outdoors?
Outdoors. Okay. So first of all, we get past the fact that we think we have to stay in to communicate, to do anything, to receive anything. We have to really give ourselves permission to realize that there is more availability to spirit utilizing what's capable of being utilized outdoors. Why? Well, because there's a random source of energy that can't be provided in our normal environment. Does that mean that we need it to survive? No. It just means if you want variety, you've got to get out of the common. You've got to get out of the familiar. You've got to be able to break away and pull yourself into a position of saying, okay, maybe there is something out here I need, and be open-minded enough to see it as such. Then we can start maybe benefiting from taking walks and feeling like there's a point to it and finding the value. Because obviously, if we're going to get out there to force ourselves to do something we're really not going to want to do, there has to be a pretty good motivation. And if we give ourselves permission to experience what we can experience the first time, regardless of what that is, if it's in a positive light, we're hooked. We're hooked. We just keep taking ourselves outside. There isn't really any more talking us into it. It's more about, keeping us in then.
That's interesting because
Um,
I've been experimenting with this. That like to me the entire concept of like hiking is disgusting. Like everything about hiking just does not appeal to me. And when I read this,
mhm,
about people who want to go on a date like that, it's like, okay, so first of all, I'm physically disabled, so that's kind of like a disaster waiting to happen. And then there's also the fact that I don't like the heat, I don't like bugs, I don't like a lot of things like most city dwellers. So I just decided to test my thoughts like I always do, try it out, see what happens. And I just walked to the end of the block and back. It only took like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, nothing big, nothing major. But then, over time, I decided to add, well, let me see what happens if I add another block, just nearby. Again, something close, nothing big. But what I was really surprised about was when I got back, I had a feeling of like reward or accomplishment. I don't really know how to
mhm,
describe it. So I just started to like that. And so it's gotten me more into the habit of taking the time outside as opposed to thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to sit here and play my game for the next 6 hours, which I can do definitely. But just getting into my body is really a huge thing. Like I remember many years ago when I used to write horrible scopes for the Desert Bowler news publication, that I wrote a lifestyle piece that was called "Get Into Your Body." I think I have this someplace, which is about like body intuition in a sense that like muscle testing kind of thing, except using a similar sort of concept when it comes to improving your sport and how that plays out for you. And there really is something to it when we pay attention to what our body is trying to say. I'm going through this process of getting clean right now, which is difficult and uncomfortable, but generally the feelings
yeah.
of me not being in a haze all the time, that's kind of nice. Like as far as the other benefits, I'm really sort of unclear on that, but I feel good. I feel good about enough about myself that this might be something worth trying. So therefore, I keep sticking with it, and I'm on that 30-day trial run, like I always suggest. So I'm really surprised. Like what I always say, feeling is truly believing, and if you try to ignore that, be prepared for the turmoil that's about to hit.
Right. And so that just kind of proves the aspect that once you force yourself out of your comfort zone and into something a little bit more maybe not so pleasant, even though there's really nothing negative happening, it's just your mindset that makes it such. then you do, like you're experiencing, you do start to find that there is so much more to what you can be experiencing if you allow yourself to get over your own crutch, get out of your way.
And the big thing for
Easier
so
said
many
than done.
the big thing for so many people is like you just said, easier said than done. Like, for example, for me, I know going on like an entirely sugar-free diet would be amazing. Like, wow, I would probably look like a model in a number, just a very short period of time by doing that. Unfortunately, sugar is in everything, even bread. Like we cannot get away from it. It's one of those things that if you were to try to eradicate that from your life, it would be such a drug. Like meth addiction does not at all compared to trying to eliminate sugar. So this is something I've thought about, and I thought this would be really cool. This would be fun. But then the reality sets in that I'm not going to do that though, because it's everywhere. And that's crazy. That's like going to Las Vegas and not expecting to get like the little naked porn cards that they always hand out about the escort service. That always just happens. So same concept with sugar, like I'm a realist when it comes to a lot of these things. It sounds great and I would love to do that, but in a vacuum, it's just not cut out for me in this lifetime.
Well, and so you being a realist in the regard of what's right for you, you've got to understand there's a lot of people that will daily tell you, oh, I cut out sugar and I've been fine and I never had an issue with it. And they can't. They can because their mindset was such that they had to, they needed to, they wanted to, whatever it was that they did that allowed them to, plus their personality. A person is riddled with OCD, then they're definitely going to find the ability to, discipline themselves enough to cut out those things that they think they need to cut out. I've got OCD. I can't imagine not trying to just haphazardly doing something and thinking it's going to succeed. I got to have a little bit of method to my madness. It's not necessarily as controlling as OCD would be, but yeah, there are certain things that I got to have in place. And my energy is one of them. So when I look at what I need to survive, then I'm looking at what I need as a whole. And if I think I need to shut down on the sugar for a little while, then I tell myself then that is something that is a temporary situation. Should I need to do it a little longer than temporary, then I can. But I don't say no, I can't because it's just irrelevant, or I can't, or it's too hard, or too difficult. I allow myself to taper into what I want to really work up to and then see if I really can't do it. Then if it's a no, I give it my best shot. But, if you're not in a position to need to cut out sugar, to need to cut out something other than a wish or a desire, then that isn't probably a challenge that you need to tackle if you have other things like you are trying to do right now, at reestablishing yourself on a clean foundation. Don't try to take on more than you can chew. One thing at a time is fine.
Well, and a big thing for me in this whole process has been establishing awareness of myself that, I need this, or, like, it's almost like your basic needs, like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired kind of stuff, right? And starting to taking that to new heights and realizing like, oh, so I really don't have to look at those hot guys on the computer today. Like, that's just something I'm not feeling right now, or whatever it might be, just to be able to say, no, I don't need this. It truly feels good to say no. And a lot of it is establishing the trust with your ego to say that you're going to be okay. You're not going to die if you don't get this, this vice or, this poison that you think you have to have, so that's, and again, that's always a delusion that we think we have to have that. Like I used to delude myself for years into thinking that cannabis therapy was beneficial for me. And now I'm beginning to realize, that may actually have been, just some trash that I was believing because I wanted to believe it so I could get stoned. And now I'm in a place in my life where I don't have this. And I say, the other side of the fence, there really might be something to this. And whether if that's caused by maturity or just time or my own soul's experience and development out in the world, it's probably some combination of all of those. But, it really takes a lot from us from within to be able to make that type of transformation. So seeing that change is such a key element of who I am as a human being out in the world, and, also how I consult with people, that this is something that, I really want to focus on for myself and also for everybody else out there, because if I can't live what I'm talking about or what I'm trying to sell here today, then what good is any of this for anyway?
Exactly. And that is really where what it comes right down to, where your moral compass is has evolved, has progressed to, is understanding that you can't be a hypocrite. If you're going to expect everybody to understand what you're saying, you have to have experienced it or lived it enough to, want to take on that challenge. And if you're saying, well, theoretically, I hear that it's pretty easy to do if you just do X, Y, and Z, and you haven't actually lived it, to be able to say, hey, yeah, you know what, this is going to suck, but here's the deal. This is what I can do. I can teach you, I can tell you, I can show you how. And if you can stick with it, then you can decide whether or not it's not for you, because it is going to be hard. But I'll tell you what, I went through it, and I did it, and I succeeded, and I'm better for it. And those kind of things, those kind of prompts are what people need to hear. Not the one that's going to tell you, yeah, I got a degree in XYZ, and I know how to tell you, to fix everything that's wrong with you. I read it in a book. Wrong answer. You're not going to get anybody's trust that way. When we're in a position of helping people, the way we help people go through the things that conventional means can't help, then they have to be able to trust us. And being able to say to them, yes, we know what you're going to go through. We understand exactly how hard it's going to be, but we're also going to give you a guarantee that if you can apply this and it's right for you, it will work. And you're not going to have to go through this struggle anymore. And I'll tell you what, that makes a big difference to a lot of people looking for help.
Well, what's hilarious is that people who are seeking, like, let's say, a certified sex addiction therapist because, like their habits and behaviors have begun to erode, the relationships that really matter and those that they love and those kinds of things. They go out and seek these types of, practitioners as a couple. And so, like, I'm always of the belief you need to screen everybody that you want to open up your wallet to. That's just something smart that we should all be doing. And that's one of the reasons why we give free readings here on this show, is to give you a sample of what we do and how we work. It's crazy to just pay for something blindly and to hope for the best. And there's like a moderate to slight chance that we're going to get ripped off in that entire process. So what happens is, like, people go out and search and seek certified sex addiction therapists, and you ask them, so what is your history and experience with sex addiction? Where did you come from and your story in terms of, helping me today? And then the person comes back and says, well, I have a PhD from Dartmouth and, XYZ subject.
Yeah.
And, and has anybody in your, and my parents are still alive and I've never lost anybody. They have, everything is just, like, so on paper that there is a total lack of empathy, and it's just sort of like, yeah, that's definitely not working. I don't want to work with you. Like, that doesn't establish trust with me if I know that you're not even going to come from a perspective of love, and trying to understand. Like, being pedantic with people when they're wanting to change themselves, that just pushes them the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
So to look at this, to shift gears, if we're looking at our screen right now, here's my chart. I have this set up. You can see those dots, and then there's that green one there. The blue one is the meridian Pluto midpoint, the M and then the P. And then on the pink one, on the second chart, we've got the same two planets. And the green dot is the midpoint of the blue and the pink. Now you'll see out here in the transits that third Pluto, where I drew the arrow from that has the box around it, this is going to be approaching that arrow over there on the left. So once it gets there, then that Pluto will fulfill that midpoint, and I have a triple meridian Pluto. So just to tell you, meridian is the soul, or I, me, and then Pluto is change. So I mean, I am truly in a really deep metamorphosis process right now, and that process will complete once that Pluto hits that arrow over there on the left. I don't really care to know when that is actually going to happen, just because that's the human experience, and I like to take my time. I'm always of the belief there is more time, and if I think to myself, if I have the knowledge, okay, so this is coming in 5 months, then I have to cram everything in there that I possibly can. Not really true. You could even argue to an extent that my soul out in the ethers planned it this way, that I was really going to wait until the last minute and then not take full advantage, or maybe I did. I don't know. We always plan these things out in advance, so there really doesn't do a lot of good to beat us up over what we're not doing, because it all works itself out anyway. So what I'm trying to show you here is that I am going through a time where I am truly changing in like 180 degrees of where I used to be. This is kind of a shock. Like I was even telling my mom the other day, I listened to some of our shows here on BTR recently, and I hear a version of myself that I recognize, but I don't really know in this exact moment. Like this is somebody that I'm growing into, so it's exciting for me to see these elements of myself come out.
Hey, that's excellent. That's a lot of stuff going on right there, according to your chart. Yeah, wow,
So
way
now,
cool.
so here's a question for you, Veretta, just a general question. How do we create karma?
All right. We create karma when we continue or hang on to something that we could have just as well settled right when it happened and been done with it. Example, say somebody does you wrong and they're just all over you with all kinds of bad, and everything inside of you wants to say, all right, you know what, I'm giving it back to you. Well, the minute you move in that direction, you're now creating karma. And that karma will come back to you, as this is a continuum. Therefore, should you choose not to create karma, you deal with it in that moment and walk away. Let it go. Now, say it's something that's going to be perpetuated that you can't walk away from, like, that you got to defend yourself, or you've got to make right a situation, that you can't deal with right away. So you rectify or satisfy the situation as early as possible in the best means that you can, in the best means available. And you do it with the thought and the knowledge, not that just oh, well, this is good enough, I don't care anymore, but with this is the best I can, this is what I can do all I can do to take care of the situation. That's it. You just nullified karma. Now, say what you did was a bad choice. Say what you did really didn't make it go away. Maybe it perpetuated and it has to stay a little bit longer. Again, it's how you deal with it in the ongoing that will determine whether you make karma stay at bay. That makes sense?
It does, and remember that karma it's an existential experience, but it may or may not play out in this lifetime. So, like one of the biggest misconceptions about the world that we are truly all lied to about is the fact that if you do the right thing, then you'll get ahead. Look at literally
Mm-hmm.
anybody who is a politician. Like that's a great counterexample and really solid proof of how that's just a straight up lie that does not work. So, I mean, are we going to see all of these people be tortured and evil things? Probably not. But will their screams be stretched out for eons? Absolutely. And I would love to watch that from the ethers. But that's neither here nor there. So that's something that we can't really focus on. And like one of the things that I have been learning through my own experiences is the fact that when something leaves a bad taste in your mouth because of just that it wasn't really an ideal situation, or just when everything was stacked up against you, and we continue to fixate on an outcome to end things, it becomes that much harder for those things to go away. They just stick around so much
Mm-hmm.
more and become such a thorn in your side that you just can't give it up. So that's something that I've been noticing is, really, truly just let it go. It doesn't matter. It's almost like a dog's chew toy, just like eventually they'll give it up. We don't know when, but they will.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you got to remember, karma isn't all negative. It's what we put out, period. So when we're putting out positive energy, that's cycling and coming around back. Why? Because we're not ending that. We're not trying to null or rectify that. We're continuously putting that energy out. So that's why good will come back at us as well as negative. And if we're pretty versed in energy and karma and how it comes about, you can bring that karma right around quickly to make darn sure it doesn't drag through the ethers with you and haunt you in lifetimes that you're not suspecting.
And that's one of the amazing things about Ho'oponopono is the fact that not only can you do I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. We go through that whole process for yourself, but there's also like an entire tier of release that we can do for all of our ancestral stuff that we pick up along the way. What's really fascinating about Uranian astrology is like the chart markers, the things that are the signatures that we have in our own personal lives, like the combinations of planets that are so strong for me and for you, like Veretta, like you share things in common, with with your special guy, and you're also going to share things in common with your children, and you're also going to share things in common with your parents and their parents and so on. So I mean, these are things that we just sort of pick up along the way by ancestry. Like I have this whole piece about disability, that comes in, that has a whole Sun Hades thing, and my mom has this very similar type of piece to that comes into place. So where she's also got a major Hades influence in her chart, and my dad does too. So this is something that I'm beginning to realize through this work, that I can clear a lot of the stuff. Like I'm probably very honestly just picking up a lot of limiting beliefs just because I think that it has to be that way. Like it's almost similar to thinking that you're not worthy of something. Well, it's not the fact that you're not worthy. It's just the fact that you're not cut out for that in this life. That's not a goal for you. So, like that, there's a difference. There's a fine line.
Right. And that really isn't something that we can know based on the fact that we purposely can't see what we pick when we get here. So when we get to the point of understanding that, okay, I don't get this, I don't understand why it's happening, I really, for the life of me, can't fathom any reason that this is going to end up being a positive thing. It really isn't for us to figure out in that moment. It just is something that we need to accept has to happen and be okay that at some point, if we know, yay, if we don't, carry on. There's other things that we can dwell over that will actually make, a difference. Worrying doesn't do anything.
And the moment you start to see the red flags, hop off of that train right away and start a new path for yourself. Because we've all seen that movie before. What happens when we do that one thing that we know is really bad for us, but we think we need to anyway because we're lonely, or because, we're afraid, or because we're feeling whatever it might be. We don't need to engage in that type of behavior with ourselves, because then it creates a lot of strings that don't need to exist. So I know a lot of people are very confused when it comes to just walking away, but I will always believe in this, that we really don't want to create more karma strings than what we need to. So the moment it's looking like disappointment or, regret or despair or any of those difficult types of situations or feelings, run. Because what comes afterwards, that's karmic. That's not good.
Right. And so this is the flip side to that. I've heard people say, well, maybe it's my job to teach them a lesson. That's a point. However, I would say to anybody that would take that frame of mind in reference, they better be sure they're standing on solid ground when they take that first hit. Because otherwise, it's coming back at them double-fold in what they put out.
That's for sure, yes. So, hey, we're going to get off to the phone lines tonight and take some calls from everybody. We have a queue that's building up. Just wanted to let you know that if you're on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you may be catching the show from right now, be sure to give us a call directly here on the show. It's area code 563-999-3070. We'll be here for the next half hour or so until about 8 p.m. Pacific time, or Mountain or Arizona time. And also be sure to leave us any comments, because we'd love to hear those as well, all your feedback. We are going to get off to our first caller for the night. Last but not least, please just remember to turn off your computer audio if you are watching the live show, just so we can avoid that feedback loop. Please and thank you. Great. So our next caller here is going to be from area code 610. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. May I have your name and date of birth? Hello?
Hello?
Okay. All right. Guess they're just listening. We'll come back to you in a bit. Next caller, we are going to get off to Rosemaria from area code 856. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. Rosemaria, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Doing good. Totally
Perfect. All
good.
right. Now I have all your stuff up here. Now, would you like a general reading, or do you have a question about an issue today?
I guess general, because right now a lot of chaos and a lot of drama, and like you guys said, it's I guess what do you call it? I have the word in my head, but I can't spit it out. Um, karma thing. But this time I had to take it to the next level for my old manager, so it had to be ended.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. Let's take a look at that one. Beretta, what you got?
Okay, Rosemary, let's take a look and see what you got going on. Take a breath and exhale. Think of the bottom of your feet. There you go. Get anchored. Get anchored. All right, love. Okay, so when I feel the energy specifically involved with authority, let's say authority, you shut something down. You shut it down. So this is what I would say about whatever you needed to do to maintain the situation. You did just enough that was needed to either set the story straight or set the tempo straight. Like, you had to shut something down, and you did it effectively. And so now, why can I say that? Because I don't feel ill will. I don't feel malice. I feel pissed off. I feel really angry from someone, but that does not mean in a way that you created it out of ill will intent. So you'll maybe get some sideways glances, side looks, and maybe even groveling under the breath or mumbling when this individual walks away. But I don't really get that they will engage you specifically to torment you or, harass you or just give you grief. I think you put that away, hon. You put that away. Now, I do feel like if you're still looking for, were you looking for another place to live, or is this an ongoing thing where the battle is concerned?
The battle's in the U.S. I'm trying to relocate with a business.
Okay. So I feel like you're going to have opportunity for that. And the reason I say is because I kind of get that you're going to have a few cluster of things come into your awareness all at once. Like, you're going to have choice of how to act on this, and you're going to have to figure out how to do it quickly and effectively. So maybe Ernesto can give you some detail about the best course of action for that. Because I kind of think that a few of the things maybe will be, I don't know why I want to use the words maybe above you. Like, it's really not your best interest to try to grasp. So it's maybe about people that you would have to count on, or agencies, associations, something like that. That may not be a best fit for you. So maybe Ernesto can give us a little bit more about the timing and how to get those doors open.
Sure. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Rosemaria, taking a look at this, now, was the blow up that you had? This, you said it was work related, right?
Right.
Are you unemployed right now?
They got rid of the role. No, I'm temporarily went somewhere else. They suspended me and got rid of me. They got rid of the wrong person. That makes sense, and I had to bring it to the next level, to the lawyer, to take care of the problem.
Yeah, and you've had but in general, you've had a lot of problems with like legal issues, right? Like being sued or suing other people. I remember we had this conversation a long ass time ago when you were like living with somebody, or there was a living situation that was pretty dark, and or maybe this was growing up. I'm not sure, but I remember something about that we've talked about this before. So it's not the first time that we've had this conversation. It's just now in a completely different subject.
Yeah, that one didn't pan out because the lawyers are not contacting me right, and I'm not trusting to do a wire and all that happy stuff because if they're not communicating with me by email or by voice, there's no way I'm going to do it that way. So I'm depending on a different situation, if that makes sense.
I feel like that
pans out.
this issue that you're dealing with right now, this is gonna you're gonna end up being disappointed from it. Like it's just not gonna pan out. There's gonna be, I think that the gauntlet here is just way too insane. There are too many elements. Like you're trying to take on like some mega corporation, or somebody that
Yeah.
really knows what the heck they're doing as far as the law is concerned. So I wouldn't really expect a whole lot. My best advice to you would be to just drop it and move on. I think if you did try to push through it, it would just end up wasting a lot of time, for a little tiny little measly reward of like $100 or something like that. Something that's not even worth a court appearance. So I just feel like that in that regard that that a lawsuit would be difficult. And so if we're looking at more about what's happening with your work situation right now, I think that you're going to be you're going to be changing jobs a lot. Like I think that there's going to be some transition here. You're headed sort of like into a new career of sorts, something, a new industry, perhaps something you've never worked in before. And so you're going to be kind of doing odd jobs here and there just for the sake of keeping a roof over your head in the meantime. But so the big job that's coming a little bit further down the line, that all should be within like the next year and a half. So my advice to you as far as this is concerned would be, just let it go, and then still keep looking for other work, because there are many opportunities out there right now, and you're still kind of trying to fish or shop for the one that's really right for you.
Yeah, the one I really want is to open a business and move overseas. The other one for work here, the lawyer has a background for that unemployment stuff, and so I'll just let him handle it. I'll just let it go, like let him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you definitely use your
trying.
legal team to your advantage. Like they, or any resources or people for that matter, who may be able to assist you with like applying for programs, or making sure that you get taken care of. Because there are people that are not you that are going to have the answers, and they're mostly going to be in positions of authority, if not legal authorities.
Right. Got it.
Okay, Fred,
Yeah,
do you have
and
anything else
for
you want
the
to add? Loretta?
No, I'm not getting really
Okay.
anything. So
All right, great. So, Rosemary, it was terrific to have you on the show. Thanks so much for giving us the call back. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you sooner rather than later. Be sure to let us know how it turns out.
all right, thank you.
Take care. Until next time. Good night. Okay, and we are going to try our next caller here from area code 805. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hi, this is Donna. How are you?
Donna. Okay,
Um,
great. Perfect.
April
No, Donna, I have your info.
54.
No worries. Got it.
Oh, you
So,
do. That's right.
yeah. You called us. So, Donna, do you have a question about an issue, or did you want to update us about that?
Yeah.
That I guess memorial or whatever it was that you were going to recently.
Oh, I didn't end up going. I didn't end up going, and the brother did not end up going. He was sick, and I had vertigo,
Wow.
so I couldn't go because I was, So, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it probably would have already, if he was going to.
Right. We've had
But
this
then-
conversation. So you had a question for us tonight?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see money's coming into me another way somehow? Because I'm kind of really strapped for money right now, and I'd like to know, what it's showing for maybe next month or the following month, maybe a job or something like that.
Okay. All right. Sure. Perfect. Retta, what you got?
All right. Okay, Donna, I'm getting the impression you may need to reach out a little bit broader than what you normally would to wait for work or receive information. It seems like you're, I don't know, it's dry. I can't think of any other word other than where you're at in response to income and job, it's dry. So reaching out farther, looking in different places or different mannerisms, I'm almost feeling like I want to say you may end up going to work for an agency just for a little while until you can get a private pay or some type of job that you're calling your own shots again. It may be.
See, but I can only make so much. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so, and that's why it's feeling to me like it's going to be really difficult for you for a little while.
Any other way, or I mean, I have been lucky before, where pretty lucky to tell you the.
Well, when you ask, is there any other way? I literally get that you could, through juggling. Now, whether that means people jobs, pawn shops, I don't know what type of situations that would require, but I'm seeing you capable of doing enough to keep you by, but it means more than one thing.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like little jobs here, little jobs there, maybe one job in the afternoon there, and then job in an afternoon someplace else. I don't know. It feels like you can make ends meet, but not to the extreme that you have been accustomed to for, I don't know, like 3 months. I'm really not getting anything until before the end of the year, and I'm really going to hope Ernesto's got a different date for you where that's concerned, because I'm like after the first of the year before I'm seeing anything start to feel like it's reachable.
Yeah.
So, having that been said, let's see what Ernesto says, because it may be a lot more positive.
Well,
Actually, taking a look at this, Donna, with your chart, I'm running some stuff right now to see what the potential for like money looks like. But based on what I can see, just where you are out in the world right now, as of today, that whole question about work and that concern about, what should I do kind of thing, I absolutely 1,000,000% agree with Veretta that you are going to be doing some type of agency, or like you maybe perhaps finding a new client, or there's whatever it is that you do for work. It's probably not going to be what you want. Let me just be straight up with you and tell you that. So whatever kittens and rainbows pipe dream you thought you would like to have that seems pleasant, you're probably going to get something that's the polar opposite and is really just going to kind of be unpleasant, and I hate to say this, but this is truly going to be what it's going to take for you to keep a roof over your head. That I think money-wise that they're, let me do this. Yeah. Okay. One more time. Let's see, like, there-ish. Okay. So as far as the money's concerned, that's going to get kind of tight. It's going to get difficult for you. And I think that you can work your way out of this by doing some type of work like agency or caregiving type of stuff like you've done in the past. You have the experience to do this. So I think you'd very much benefit from it. So that would be my answer as far as like what you should look for as far as when that would show up for you. Well, that's going to be a little bit of a different issue. That's going to be a little bit more, I think, of a struggle. I think that this Mars retrograde that we're going to be coming up with at the end of the month, that's going to be an opportunity where you're going to really want to perhaps do some like budgeting work and, like really figure out now what corners am I able to cut, because you're going to have to be prepared for, let's say, a long, quote unquote long winter. And the new job that'll probably come, I want to say, after the first of the year, definitely around the Christmas time season, that, you should start to have some opportunities that will at least show themselves to you. But as far as, like the actual hire is concerned, that won't be until 2023. So My advice to you is, prepare for that long winter, because I think that things might start to get a little bit real for you, especially if you're clinging on to the idea that, I want this pipe dream type of job. That's really what I'd like to do, because the reality is really quite different from that, where you're going to be doing something just for the sake of making sure that you're taken care of.
Okay. So it looks better next year, huh?
Right. Yeah. So next year would be the better time for you for that type of thing. Now, just taking a look at this, have you thought about moving in with family at all?
Have I thought of what?
Moving in with family at all?
Oh, that's interesting. I have a sister. I could always move in with her and her husband, but I like my town better. And where they live, it's kind of isolated. You go 10 minutes on a dirt road to get to where they live. I mean, some people like that kind of living. It's very private and whatnot, but that's their life. I mean, I want to meet someone, and I think that if I lived such an isolated life with them, I'm not going to meet my life partner that maybe I'll meet one day and have
Well,
a male partner.
And that's all true. But, the other thing I just want you to consider is like what we were talking about at the beginning, is that you might have to do that thing that's unwanted. Like moving in with her doesn't seem like a great idea. Like, I don't really want this, but I kind of have to, because the expenses of where I'm at are just too crazy, and I just can't keep that up. And it's, like, you're really going to have some serious conversations with yourself about, what am I willing to sacrifice for the sake of my mental health? Because that's going to be a big thing for you. And I think that, like you spending out time in nature, honestly, like that's probably, I would say, one of the best things that you could do. Because, like we were talking at the beginning of the show, all of the answers that we can't find in the chart or through spirit, that they come out from us in nature. And also that this is going to be a time for you that you're getting ready, to meet that special someone. And you like, if you were to do something like live out in the countryside or something, then you have the more opportunity to get in touch with like what it is that your soul is needing, so you can conjure that up. Loretta, does this kind of make sense to you, or are you picking that up?
Yeah, you know what? It's true, because I haven't been out in nature much. I used to walk the beach for 2 hours every day. I'd walk in the water so my feet would get wet, and a lot of things came to me. I was very happy, and I was very open, and it was just wonderful. And with the vertigo and different things, having the flu, and then I broke my back and all this stuff, it kind of stopped me from doing all that. But I think I'll get back to it, because I was more intuitive doing that every day. I was happier, and being out in nature, it just does something to you. It does something to your brain, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, so there it is. Like maybe not living with your sister and her husband might be like too difficult for you right now to comprehend. But go out for a weekend trip, just see what it's all about. See, could I handle this? If I can handle 72 hours of this, then there's a reasonable expectation that I could stand something a little bit more long term. If you can't, then then I have to do everything that I need to do in my own power to be able to stay where I'm at right now. So it's like that's a choice that you're gonna have to make.
Yeah, I can live fine. I have enough money for rent. I have enough money for food. I have a sister that helps me out. They buy me a new car every 5 years or so. They take care of all my dental work. I mean, my sister is my little angel in my life.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I introduced her to her husband, so they're happy with that. He was my friend, and I introduced him. He was a trust fund baby, and so. But I want to get back to how I was when I was. I'm 68 now. When I was a little younger, I mean, I would go traveling. I'd go to Italy. I'd go to Ireland. I'd go to Taiwan, and I would. Ideally, I'm thinking, well, I've got to make some money somehow so I can get back to doing this, because that's what I enjoyed the most. I don't have kids. I'm not married. So I'm alone all the time by myself. All my friends have moved away because California was too expensive for them. So they moved to Florida and Texas. But so I'm by myself all the time, and that's no fun.
Well, definitely spend some time out in nature. That's where all the magic happens. So it was really great. We have a call queue building up, Donna, actually. So I would love to sit around and chat with you right now. But we'll have to catch up with you, hopefully maybe on our Sunday show when we've got a little bit more time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your
Yeah,
talking to you. Both
it
of
was
you.
great to have you on the show. We'll catch up with you soon. Take care and good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, and one last time for anybody who is listening on YouTube or Facebook, be sure to give us a call here on the show, 563-999-3070. We do have, it looks like, a few more calls in queue tonight before our show is up in like the next 15 minutes. So if we do get cut off, we'll just still keep around. The YouTube stream will still be live. Blog Talk Radio will quit recording, so that stream will die, but our YouTube show will still go on. So we'll still take all the calls for tonight. To our next caller then, we're going to get off to area code 303. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hi, I think I'm in your system. Allison, March 15, 1957.
Allison. Okay, great. So glad to have you back. Yep, I've spoken to you before. I know you. Now, Allison, quick question.
Yeah.
Would you like a general reading tonight, or do you have a question about an issue?
Well, I could go with the general, but I think housing/moving be the primary focus, but I'm open to other, things that might jump out as well.
Perfect. All right, got it. Veretta, what you got?
So there's a little gray area in your question in regard to moving, and the gray area for me feels very indicative of needing things done, things put into place, loose ends tied up, and you kind of already know or have a list of what needs to be finished, and there's either an obstacle or a challenge in the way that you would think you need to work on something else first. And what I'm hearing Spirit tell me is if you go for the stuff that you're not thinking you should do now, that's exactly what will bring peace in the situation and allow whatever the pieces are that need to fall into place to happen. And you could do this as early as, or as soon, and it's not on you. It's not just about what you can do. You're kind of waiting. There's a time frame you're bound to wait for too, and so you're kind of having to juggle a little bit. But what I get is that the situation itself isn't great, and that once you get the thing that you don't want to work on done, even though you think you can't or you feel you shouldn't or whatever the situation may be for you, that's when you're going to start to see things like literally the sun comes out, the clouds go away, whatever the situation is that's a little bit difficult to palate starts to ease up, and you start getting offers. You start getting opportunities. So I'm not sure what your gray is, but maybe Ernesto can give you some more information if you're not sure what that would be, and he can probably give you some time frame in that way as well. So Ernesto?
Sure, yeah, let me take a look here. So, Allison, are you in a point right now in life where you're thinking about moving, or is this, or is it just a thought, or is it something that you're going to be forced to do?
I would say it's the probability of being forced to do it is about 98.7%.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me take a look at that one then. Okay, let me move that more, like about there-ish. Okay. Is this being, I'm just curious, does this have anything to do with like some religious screwiness, like some really close-minded people that are just kind of like a real...
Not at all. No. Absolutely.
Okay,
nothing like that.
Perfect.
That's even a bizarre concept to me, because I would never get myself in a situation involving that to begin with.
Okay, all right, perfect. So then I can discard that reading of this access point. All right, so what I'm looking at more then is if you're gonna move, it's gonna be with friends. And I don't have you been talking to other people in your groups or network about?
Absolutely not. I will only live. No, absolutely not. I will only live by myself.
And that could be that thing that Veretta is saying, that like I just that thing that you think is super unpleasant. I'm never doing that in a million years. That's the secret key, that you know that's where the real magic happens. Veretta, is that what you're getting?
Possibly. And the minute you start to consider it an option is when you actually don't have to do it and other things fall through. But if you start
No,
making
I will
strides,
not do it. No, it's not. I have to be really emphatic on this. It will never be on the table.
okay, well there's what may be the obstacle. So possibly see the course and see what it is that you are blessed with in the future, and see if that works out for you.
Now, as far as the
Not on
move
the
is,
table.
as far as the move is concerned, are you working right now at all, or do you do anything like work wise that generates revenue?
I'm retired. I am
Okay.
retired.
I was aware of that. I just, some people have like side hustles, so I just wasn't sure if you did like crafting or, something along those lines. Okay, so my advice to you about the moving piece then is, are you looking at like government subsidized housing?
No, and it's not available here regardless. Absolutely not even available, and no, I'm not.
Okay, all right. So then that's not. Wow, this is really a mess. Like I'm really sort of confused. Like your chart is definitely telling me some stuff, and then it's like you're just saying like that's just not possible. So I mean, and that is what it is. So
Yeah.
it creates an interesting scenario. So I completely understand the confusion that you're sort of feeling about everything right now. That I'm being pulled in X direction, but like Y and Z are happening to me, and this is not what I ordered at all. So what the heck is going on? So, looking at this, let me go there. Okay, so here. Yeah, again, there it comes up, like you've got more stuff that's showing up here that's, you being around other people as far as that move is concerned. That's so interesting to me. I'm just not sure what that's exactly referring to. So I guess we're just going to have to wait to see how that one plays out.
Well, I'll be around other people because I live in a town with other people.
Well, I mean,
I'm
right.
not going to move to the middle of the desert or, like some, top of a mountain. There will be other people in town. But I don't think that's what you're referring to.
No.
I'm not moving to any mountaintop, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. So, are you? Now I know, like living with other people. You just said absolutely not. That's just not possible. What about like?
Not doing it.
Okay. All right. So, what I will say about the move is that it's going to be forced. That's one thing that's for sure. Is that whatever happens, it's just going to kind of be a surprise. Like it's sort of coming, but still that moment is just going to be like, what the heck is this? And then the reason for it is just really going to be total BS that has nothing to do with anything really. It's just one of the, you would almost start to wonder if it was like, am I being targeted kind of thing. It just doesn't make sense in that regard.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there because it won't be BS because the house is being sold. That's not BS. The house where I rent is being sold.
Okay. So the
That's
are
not
you
BS, and that's definitely not being targeted. That's just the nature of what happens when houses get sold, that the tenants eventually have to move out.
are you looking at moving by the end of the year?
Nope.
Yeah, because that's definitely not here. Like your move is going to be in the first half of 2023. It would take time for me to break that one down, but it's definitely not happening right now. It's so it is in the works. So you want to get yourself prepared for that because I think it'll be the whole process will go relatively smoothly for you if you have everything ready. But yeah, the actual event won't be until sometime in the future. So it's not like imminent. It's not like, you're going to have to, replan everything for the holidays, let's say, if you do anything for that. Like for me, that's just a different day with another theme. But I know for some people, they really like to do a lot of things for that. So whatever plans, or things you may have had going on for that, you can still keep those as they are. I wouldn't expect that's going to be a shake up until next year.
Right, and I know that because I'm on a lease.
Well, you might want to check
And
your
the
lease
lease expires.
just to make sure that there's
the
no.
lease expires.
But you may have a contract that that they have the ability to throw you out, even if because of the situation that's going on right now.
No, no. I know the law on that actually, and I have been informed that any lease, is a legal contract. The lease goes with the property. It goes with the property. It's a standing contract. It's a legal document. It goes with the property. So if there is if something happens to the owner of the house, something fatal or whatever, the lease still continues until the end date that is specified in the lease, because the lease goes with the property, not with the landlord, let's say. And so what happens sometimes, and this is a legal document, it will stand in court. So a new buyer, for example, cannot kick. It's illegal. They actually cannot kick. Everyone should know this. I'm educating anyone who's listening. You cannot be kicked out during your lease. Barring anything horrific that you've done. I'm just saying the lease will be honored as a legal contract until the end date on that lease. Now, what happens in cases, for example, when there's a new buyer who comes in and takes over that property, the house gets sold, a new owner comes in and takes over, that lease still stands. What the new owner will do or can offer is an incentive to move. They will sometimes offer you a month's rent or something of that nature, but the tenant is under no obligation whatsoever to accept it. That space is that tenant's space until the contract ceases by the end date stated in the contract, aka the lease. Again, barring, this is, I'm excluding all horrible things. If the tenant's being, is a criminal and doing horrible things, that's a different situation. I'm saying this is the nature. So no new owner can force you out. They can try to incentivize you with money, but that's the most they can do. And that's the one thing that I think many people seem not to know. And so, maybe some people would want to take that kind of an offer, if they have another year left on their lease, let's say, then they might say, yeah, I'll go ahead and take the money and find another place to live. It depends on the situation and et cetera, et cetera. But a new owner cannot kick someone out.
Well,
and that's the education on leases, because it's contract. It's a legal document.
Well, I'll just
the property.
Just want to admit to you, Allison, I'm really sorry. I guess it's just an off night for me with your chart here that I just need some more time to break things down. So as far as what I can tell, the move definitely next year is when you should expect that. So we do have a call queue building up, so I'd like to get to everybody before we get kicked out, but we'll have to catch up with you soon. Thanks so much for giving us a call and let us know how it turns out.
90 seconds.
Until next time, good night. Okay, and we are going to get shut down here by BTR, so that stream will end, but we will continue our taking the last few calls here, and then we'll end the show. So, Amala, we're going to catch up with you over on area code 860. Hi, Amala, are you on the air with us? Can you hear us?
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Perfect. All right, now, Amala, I do have your chart up. Would you have a question about an issue?
60 seconds.
Would you just like a general reading today?
I'd like a follow-up question. So I guess the direct way to ask you, Veretta and Ernie, is that, okay, so this person that I'm interested in, Gerald, it's like, I think he's interested in me, but he has a weird way of showing it. We kind of, got through our boundaries, things that was going on in the last couple of weeks, but can you just kind of like look into the energy of this? It's like, it's very strange. He's very passive with his, he'll get back to me, but it's never right away. It's not even in 24 hours. It's like more
10
days.
seconds.
So I'm just wondering, like, is this going to develop into something romantic? I guess that's my direct question.
Sure. All right, Veretta, what you got?
And you said his name was Daryl?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, love. Okay, so let me start by saying, if I were to say to you, he's not that into you, I'd be lying. All right?
Okay.
The problem with this, somewhat, is that there may be a lot more of his social characteristics that's not pleasurable to you. He's not a bad guy, but he's definitely an odd duck, and I really feel like there are some difficulties that he's had in social situations. He's either awkward or he just really has a lot of hardship in that place that he does not.
He's introverted. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So this is what I get. You're dealing with an individual that if he were pushed to a point of feeling like he was going to have to really stretch himself outside of his comfort zone, he'd walk in a heartbeat. He won't. If he were an individual that were given time to accept the fact that this could be something that he could really like, that he's not going to be asked to dress up in a tutu and run around in high heels, he could actually be okay and not lose any of himself in this relationship, he might like that. So this is where it's going to take a whole lot more time than you may be willing to give. Not that it's not right, but that, Jesus, come on, man, there's only so much waiting a person can do in 99 years of life.
Yeah, that's right. Do you feel like, do you feel like my vision is his, he fears it? Like, do you feel that, like a weird thing about?
No. Yep, yes
Okay.
and no. And I got to tell you about that, honey. Where your sight is concerned, do not settle.
Yeah.
Do not settle.
No, exactly.
Okay, and
right.
so, when you called before, like, I got to put boundaries. I got to tell him what I'm expecting. I need to tell him what it's like. That's okay. That was appropriate. Yeah. If he couldn't handle that, that's not on you.
Right.
That was absolutely fair on your part to put that out there.
Absolutely.
So now give him a little
100%.
bit of time and see if he is something. So this is what I would say. Give him a little time and see if this is something that he is really going to embrace as a thing that he can do with a lot of gentle coaxing on your part and a whole lot of patience. A whole lot of patience. And it may work out.
Weird.
Now,
it's just really strange because I think he's making excuses for there is really an attraction. Like, not just the physical thing. It really is, like, that's second for me because, God's sakes, I'm losing my vision. It's more like the soul connection that's there, and it's just very odd. Like, he's moody. I could feel it. Like, he's in and then he just slips away, and then he's in and he slips away. So it's just like, it's very strange. Like, he wants to hang out with me, but it's on, like, I'm just glad that he's teaching me my boundaries. Let me just, in a nutshell, like, I'm in New England, so we're going to go apple picking. And then, like, seriously, only 2 days ago, he goes, do you want to go? And I'm like, on Wednesday, which is today. And I said, no, because, hello, I need time to arrange rides. I just can't do this. And I was so proud of myself. That's my point. It's the boundaries, because the old me would have just jumped. Or like, oh, yeah, I'll make it work, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to jump through hoops anymore for people. I've done plenty of that.
Good
I
for
just
you.
kind of want to just gradually go
Good girl.
into,
Yeah.
right.
Good girl.
Yeah. So anyway, we're supposed to meet in 10, like a week and a half or something. But it's just very odd because he just comes out with, do you want to go Wednesday? And I'm like, he didn't even like warn me, or it's very, very weird spontaneity maybe, or that's just him, but it's just very strange. So should I
Well,
get
and
until
so
like
you also-
November? Go ahead.
You're also looking at somebody that has to talk himself into doing things kind of like that. And so you may have been experiencing somebody that said, okay, I'm going to count to 3 and do it. No matter what she says, that's just the way it's going to be. And so he had to work himself up to even ask you, even though it was last minute. And so this is where you really need to be gentle in saying to him, oh my God, I would have loved to, but I can't do that at such a last minute. I need time.
Exactly.
This is my world. And
Yes.
when he starts understanding, oh yeah, she really would have if I had given her a minute, he will continue to, come back and respond. But like I said, it's going to take time, a lot of time.
Do you think by December something, or the new year, or how long should I give it? That's, I guess, when
How old is this guy?
Less than that?
How old is he?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's 57.
57?
Yes, I'm 49. 49 in December.
You might make it around Christmas, but you're living with a guy, or you're looking at a guy that's pretty anchored into his routine. Okay,
right.
So maybe let's throw that to Ernesto and see if he can field that, and he can maybe do a little bit more looking in the chart and see if he can give you a little better answer.
All right, thank you so much, Red. That was so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ernie.
You're welcome.
Okay, hi, Amala.
Thank
So,
you.
so first of all, I just want to say kudos to you, and I am so proud to hear that you're not just bending over backwards like a pretzel, to accommodate somebody. I went through this. I had this experience recently where I got ripped off over something that I paid somebody for. Like me as a webcam model, I like to support my other fellow webcam models out there. That doesn't always work out the way that it sounds. So I'll leave your imagination to that, and please get your mind out of the trash. But what I'm going to say is this: the fact that I am putting these other people on a pedestal. Why am I not putting myself on a pedestal? Like, I truly asked myself that question. And it was just like, so why am I looking to other people for the solutions that I don't really, because I refuse to take care of myself, how do I think that somebody else is going to do it for me? So that it begins this sort of dialogue in your mind to where you just realize that I am me, and people, I'll get back to you in your own time. If whoever is important to you in your life will always find their way back to you. But the unfortunate thing is that we live in such a society where the rules of engagement have changed so much so to where they're broken, to where basic human decency does not exist in communication anymore. Here's why. Because there is this really evil notion that people think that because I have a cell phone and that I get a notification for a text or an email or a phone call, that is not a summoning that I need to respond to in a timely fashion. I will get to it when I get to it. It really irritates me beyond belief when, like people who are around my age group, around 30, in their 30s, that it takes several days to have a conversation with them over text. And then you can't even really do that because, like I come from the age of instant messaging where, you wrote like a mini novel just talking to your friends over the internet, and to bring that energy into a text message, that's very much frowned upon. And people give you like maybe an emoji or like a GIF or, like something that really, that doesn't even acknowledge half of the energy that I just put in to send you a thoughtful response.
Exactly.
So, it's really just annoying that we've come to this in life, and it's gotten me to realize, okay, so everybody's a bunch of snowflakes, and I'm just going to have to do my own thing. And if you don't like it, then that's fine. But if we're meant to be together, you're going to find your way back to me one way or the other. So this guy, he may be going through this thing that he just needs to, he's probably not well versed when it comes to communicating, just because so many of us aren't anymore.
Yeah. It's just very interesting because you just basically rounded about like inadvertently met 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And like you just said, if it's that important, it'll come back around, and it did. And I would have never expected this to come back around, but it did. So it's
Well, what I will
just
say,
very,
as far as the
yeah,
time frame is
yeah.
concerned, this month of October and even throughout most of November, because that Mars is going to be in retrograde, this is going to be like somewhat of a challenging influence as far as, like that clarity in the love relationship is concerned.
Okay,
You definitely,
okay,
absolutely 1,000,000% have a connection with somebody who is extremely steady. This guy will get back to you in one way or another in his own time. You
yeah,
just kind of have to, like I
yeah.
had to detach myself from the fact that people don't get back to you in a timely fashion anymore. So I'm going to send you a message, and now I'm going to go off to the gym, or I'm going to watch a movie, or I'm going to do this other thing and take care
Exactly.
of myself, and
Yeah.
I'll get back to you when I'm done with that other activity. It's not a passive aggressive thing. It's just the way that people are anymore, and it's sad, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And he actually, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
my advice to you is that like this next like six throughout like most of the rest of October, and then throughout the larger part of November, you're going to be still dealing with that same energy of like I don't know what the heck is going on, but he is a steady guy, so he is going to come back to you. It's just you're going to
Yeah.
have
And
you have to ask yourself the question, like, what is my mental frustration worth, because I want to know like what's happening, and when people aren't clear with me, then that's upsetting.
I think you know what it is. It's like he overthinks and then he wants to be so clear. That's why he takes his time. And meanwhile, I put puzzles together a lot faster. It's not a judgment thing. It's just, I know how I work. So like I just put pieces together intuitively, and then he's just overthinking. It's a very interesting dynamic because we're very analytical in our own weird way, but he just does things differently. And he's also an Aries with the Leo moon. So I know there's some loyalty there because he has a Leo moon, and that's all about emotion. So that helps me realize that he's not flaky. He's definitely not flaky. He's just an overthinker that takes his time. And it's teaching me patience, but it's also like actually triggering me from the last guy from 4 or 5 years ago. He just basically used me, and like in the sense of like texting, oh my God, he wouldn't get back to me for weeks. And I sat there and I waited. And so that's what's triggering me in this person. And I know he's different. I'm not saying it because it's early. I just noticed this patterning of his Leo loyalty. Like he will get back to me and he'll be honest with me. He's not shady with his answers like the other person. It just takes time. And
Well,
so it's a learning curve. Yeah. Go
Probably I
ahead.
want to say around your birthday this year, you really might want to, at least broach the subject sometime early December, we'll say, after Mars has gone direct. You might just want to broach the subject. Hey, what do you think about like, I don't know, going to ABC location? We can have separate rooms, but like let's go someplace. I'd like to do something nice for my birthday. Like what, like maybe you can, would you like to join me, kind of thing. And have a bonding experience.
Wow.
I feel like that the opportunity for the two of you to actually physically be together, that those chances are way higher throughout December and going forward. But the next little bit here, you've still got to kind of come back inside and say, I know this isn't what the kittens and rainbows that I really wished I wanted it to be right now, but it'll get there eventually. I just have to ask myself if, I'm willing to put up with this, because, it's not the right now that we're so conditioned to believing the way it needs to be.
Right. And this too shall pass. It's kind of like training wheels and riding a bike. It's wobbly at the beginning. This is the wobbly boundary wobble crazy. Not crazy. It's not even crazy. It's just a little awkward and uncomfortable, but I'll get through it. I know I can get through it.
Yeah.
All I know now, wrapping up, is the fact that I know I want to explore this. If I would be cheating myself and not honoring myself, I know that wholeheartedly. If I just said forget about it, right? If here and now, because that's all we have. Yeah. If you told me today, ask me, no. I know I need to explore this. So thank you for all of your wisdom and insight. I really appreciate it. So helpful. Oh my goodness.
For
Both
sure.
of you
And,
are
and,
amazing.
and Amala, I just want to tell you one last thing that I want you to consider.
Sure.
That'll help a
Sure.
lot of this go down a lot smoother. reframe the way that you're thinking about this guy. He's a special friend. That's all he is. He's somebody that that I know, and somebody that I spend time with, and somebody that I emotionally bond with, but not necessarily somebody that I am ever physical with. Like that's something that you discover way later down the line. Like you're still in like that getting to know each other phase, and it feels very much like a relationship just because you're so close to each other and there's that bond there. Like I know what that's all about, and it's really quite special, but you have to reframe it to say it's not the conventional relationship that I think that I'm getting, because you're definitely not getting that. It's just going to be that this is somebody who is going to be my best friend, and this will develop into that true deep love that I've really always wanted, that thing that my soul really ordered in this lifetime. That's what this is going to turn into. But it's nothing conventional about it. And also that puppy love doesn't do anybody any good, especially when you're like us, and like all of our friends and family members who have been dating and getting married since they were in their teens, we're old. And so to settle down with the first person that is suddenly kind to us, and this is a change of a pace from, the mundane everything that we're used to just throw it all away and say, I'm going to run home with you right now, and we're going to jump into bed and then join the circus. That usually does not work. Give it some time, feel it out.
No,
so
and
don't
that's
settle.
what I'm learning. Yeah, I think that's what's making this is so special. I love the way you say that, he's a special friend, because it's something I've never experienced. This is so natural in its own weird way. It's very organic. I like it this way. I don't want to jump into even dating. I just want to get to know him and just do things, do outings, like blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And, it's pretty cool. I like the word special friend. I love that. I'm going to take that with me for sure.
I coined that because the last person who was a special friend to me, who I'm no longer in touch with, I didn't realize it until after the fact that he was probably a closet case. And, like there was a lot of weirdness that got kicked up on my end, like about fear of missing out kind of things. And I eventually came back to it and said, hey, so this was a friend that I had this like unspoken sort of understanding with. It didn't really matter. You never at any point did it have to be discussed about like that dreaded F word feelings, right? Like you never have to talk about that, because you just sort of understand we're both with each other. We enjoy this, and, we have fun together, but we don't have to talk about it because we understand that this is the way it is.
Exactly, because it's energy. Energy attracts your vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So it makes complete. And I go ahead.
And nobody wants to be the character in the movie, the spouse that always says, "Can we talk about this?" Because that's gross. Nobody wants to be that person.
No, and I'm learning to do that with him, because he's in counseling. So it's like talk is talk, but let's just do it I actually just do my actions. I don't even talk about it. I did the boundary thing, but I intuitively I kind of know when to be like, when to talk about something, and then when to just action and say it when I need to say it, and just have things go through that way. But I love what Loretta said too, in the sense of like, do not settle. And that's exactly where I love myself so much, that I am not settling for anyone. And I think this is the opportunity to share something. He does keep me on my toes. He makes me wonder. And I think curiosity is everything to a relationship. Like just being curious, the wonder of it all, it could be a long lasting curiosity too. That's what I want the growth to be, and I think it could be really like a house plant. It can grow into whatever it wants to be. But like right now, like again, we're just nurturing and watering and just seeing what happens. And I know that I want to explore this. Like the old me would have been like, oh, forget it, cut, let's go, move on. But, you got to it takes time. It takes time to grow things.
So just give it time, and just take off the attachment that you have to this, that it has to be a certain way, and you will be blown away by where this is going to take you.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful talking to you both.
It was great to have you on the show. We'll catch up with you real soon. Take care, and until next time.
Okay. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, and we're gonna get out to our last caller here. This is Bryn here at area code 212. Hi, Bryn. Are you on the air with us? Can you hear us?
Oh, hey. Thank you for getting me on. I won't be too long. All right, so
Would you like a
I
general
feel
today,
that
or do you have a question about an issue?
yeah, no, I have an issue question.
Okay, what's that?
So, okay, so I feel I'm to meet a woman, and it might turn into a friend, and maybe more in the future. But I feel I'm going to meet her in November in New York City here. But the thing about it is that the end of October, throughout November, I have to go to California to a job until mid-December. Yet I have this feeling that I'm going to meet this woman in November, but it's going to be in New York City. But I feel like I'm going to miss her, so it's kind of a weird question, but I just want insight into this, what the guides say about this feeling that I have, and yet I have to go to California.
All right, sure. All right, Veretta, what you got?
All right. So I'm going to just kind of really open up, because there's a lot of things that I could say to you here that would kind of maybe, I don't know, either tick you off or put your mind to rest. And I'm really not wanting to do that in light. I want to really kind of give you an honest answer from Spirit.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute, and let me see who I can grab out there that will give you. There we go. Okay. So what I'm hearing is, so this is what I'm going to say. What I'm hearing is that, yes, you may meet someone. However, it isn't a one-time thing. So if you don't get her before you go, don't worry about it. She'll be there when you get back. That's the short and the long of it right there. Are you going to miss her completely? No. Whatever feeling you're having, whatever sensation or information you're receiving in a way that's giving you the impression that you're going to miss her is not legitimate. And the reason I say that is because it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Your opportunity to meet someone is not contingency on whether or not you have clear ESP or anything else for that matter, okay? It just doesn't work that way. So this is what I would say to you. In light of what I'm feeling in association to what you asked, yeah, you've got someone coming. Most definitely you're feeling that connection, and it's very near, but it's not a given that it's going to happen before you leave. So don't leave and then come back thinking, well, I missed that opportunity. I'm not even going to look anymore. And, you know, you got women all over the place falling over their feet at you, and you're not looking because you think you missed it already. So don't let this opportunity mess with you. Because, honestly, the work situation itself is a priority. I get that it's something that you can't miss. It's not even an option. So don't consider it being something that, you know, you walk away going, oh my God, I lost the soul mate that I never had forever because I went to work. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Okay.
So don't worry about missing this opportunity. It'll come back. If she's out there, and she is, just stay focused on the fact that you're going to be open when you return, and wherever she is, she'll show up.
Okay.
Now, having that been said, let's see if Ernesto can give you
thank you.
some more.
All right, thanks for your insight, Verena. Thank you.
So let me take a look at this. So Bryn, when we ask the question, I'm doing a multi-axial analysis in the software right now. This is just to ask some general questions about how do these areas of your life light up? Like, what are these stories all about for you? So when we ask the question about you and, you know, like a soulmate or, you know, a love partner, If we'll just say that somebody that you would fall in love with, as far as a relationship is concerned, this is definitely that somebody that you meet in your environment. It's not somebody that it's this is not a relationship that you would meet while traveling. Like I have that. I would expect that I meet my partner while traveling. You don't have travel signatures in your love stories. So this is somebody that is going to find their way to you. And then the other thing that I see here too is that this is going to be somebody, I want to say that they're going to be a little bit older than you, but it's not really going to be that much of a big deal because they're just such a great person. Like there are so many other terrific qualities about them, things that you really seek in a partner, you know, that you probably thought you would want might be a certain way. You're definitely not getting that. But you know, that's going to all of the positive qualities outweigh all of the stuff that you don't want. So you're not really going to care about it in that way. But what's going to happen is you might end up missing out on it, not necessarily because you move, but because this isn't what I ordered. You know, you just feel kind of ripped off by the universe. Like, come on, seriously, are you going to do this to me? Like, I ordered X and you're giving me A. What the heck? You know, like this is going to be one of those situations. So in that regard, that's where, you know, I think the moving about, you know, like fearing that you're going to miss out on them, that's where that comes from. But they know you definitely are going to run into them soon. And as far as like this is concerned, when we see this midpoint story here about like you in a relationship, you were thinking, you personally were feeling about like November, right?
Yeah, and I said, oh well, I got to go to California. Wait a minute, but, you know. Yeah. But
Okay.
Loretta cleared that up. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just take a look to get that time frame. So if we do that and then this, great.
How older would this person be, by the way?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say like on life support. You know, it's not going to be that dire, but you know, like it's going to be somebody that, you know, remember, older doesn't necessarily mean like that they're decades or generations older than you. Older can also very simply mean that they were born a year ahead of you. That's all. Or even like a few months. Like they are literally just older. Like that's how Uranian astrology works. Is it's very literal. So it is that exact thing. But we don't know the terms of it. So, but I would tend to think that like they would probably be somebody that's relatively new to the area, like they've never been to the city before, and so that's going to be something that you can use to bond over. Is saying, you know, oh hey, let me show you all these really great places that I picked up over the years. Right. That's going to be something that's how you're going to do your bonding with this person is by exploring parts of the city because they're new and they to the area. So and they meet you. So, as far as this timing is concerned, when this moves, yeah, you're definitely. What happens if we move this about a month? Let's do that. Okay, so I don't want to do that. Great. Now, where did the Venus go? It is over here. My software is on fire. Come on. If I do that. Yeah, so November does look like a prime time where you would be you know, where you definitely have the potential to do like some falling in love kinds of things with other people, like other women out there. So I definitely do see that, you know, November is a strong time for you, but don't worry about the travel thing. I really think that this is just going to be somebody that you'll run into and they're just going to be new to the city. And so if you want to say like, if I could be on the lookout for anything, it would be people who don't look like they know what they're doing.
Hello? Hello?
Yes. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just bought it.
Oh, my apologies. So if I cut out, my advice to you would be look for the people who look like they don't know where the heck they are or what they're doing. Those are going to be the types of people that, you know, that are going to catch your interest.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Bryn, you'll have to give us a call and let us know how it turns out. And absolutely enjoy California. November is one of the best months of the year to be in the West Coast.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you both. Thanks.
You're
Have
welcome.
a good night, everybody.
All right. Take
Yeah.
care. And
You
until
too.
next time. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, all right. And that is everybody for the night. Thank you guys. I guess we just went a short little half hour over. We might have to think about doing a 90-minute program instead of an hour on our midweek program, just so we can have those great conversations here at the beginning about life, the universe, and everything. Again, my name's Ernesto. I'm joined here by Veretta. You can find me at eastrologer.tv for all other things Uranian astrology, and Veretta is over there at verettavision.com. We'll be back with you guys on Sunday. That'll be the 16th for a 2-hour slot. Starting at 12 p.m. Mountain or Arizona time. Want to thank all of our guests for giving us a call on the show tonight. And be sure to remember that if you did enjoy your reading, to go out and leave us some feedback. We do love to hear that from you as well. We do have a Facebook page if you would like to join us out there for some other additional inspirations and to watch the show live, because it does cast over there. But thank you so much, Veretta, for being on the show. It was terrific as always.
Always. It's always fun.
All right, thanks, guys. We will see you guys next time. And until next time, have a great rest of your night. Take care. Good luck and Godspeed.